for the last of the season of Learn as We Lead. And as we think about this transfiguration, as we think about the national priorities that we are confronting right now, that are really on display as, people may be aware that there's a budget that's being proposed at the federal level that is going to cut up to $2 trillion of spending over the next set of years. And what that would do, alongside undermining critical government functions and programs and systems of democratic governance, is fundamentally change how our society functions. Because the suggestion is that those $2 trillion of cuts need to come from food security programs and Medicaid and even programs like Social Security. When instead, where those cuts should come from are, subsidies to oil and gas companies and polluting industries, tax loopholes that allow Wall Street to continue to rake in untold profits off the backs of working people. Those cuts should come from contracts for Amazon, Starlink, Tesla, companies owned by some of the richest people in the world, instead of looking for cuts against cuts on programs that tens of millions of people rely on every day and have for years and decades, and in fact generations, to survive. And so this government is steadily working its way into one of, by, and for the wealthy, rather than one of, by, and for the people, while asserting that this is what we all need, while saying that they are above the law in making these decisions, and saying that the people voted for this. They voted to have this in place, that these are the national priorities that must be taken up right now. Well, this just isn't true, right? We all know this isn't true. This administration got less than a third of the vote. There is no popular mandate for what is happening right now. And even, the people who did vote for this administration, this probably isn't what they thought they were going to get, a good portion of those people. And of course, some of the people making these decisions, including the richest person in the world, didn't receive any votes at all, right? And so these are not our priorities, which I think brings us to this idea of transfiguration, of how do we change the direction? How do we live into what our priorities actually are, what God wills for all of us? And the reflections we will hear today remind us that in the face of these injustices, no matter what they tell us to believe, we know the truth. And the truth is that God is on our side. God is on the side of the poor and dispossessed, especially those standing up to this injustice, to this abomination of truth, and who will continue to do so. And that God is actually among us. God is present in these struggles that we've been hearing from, asserting that there is another way to organize society where we can all thrive.